After exploding in the early 2000s, manga sales growth in North America was starting to decline by the end of the aughts. And after peaking in 2007, sales started to decline. Manga sales fell by 17% in 2008 and 20% in 2009. By 2010, the North American manga market had shrunk by a third since its peak. There were several potential contributing factors, from the great financial crisis in an oversaturated market to losing readers to popular Western comics and novels. And this decline in sales wasn't exclusive to the North American market. Manga sales in Japan fell by 6.6% in 2009, which was the largest year-on-year drop in history. However, out of all the potential factors behind this decline, there was one that retailers and publishers were particularly focused on: scanlations. While unofficially scanned and translated copies of manga had been around for decades, they were now more popular than ever. While they had always been controversial, they were generally seen as a net good for manga sales in North America. As recently as 2007, representatives from Viz Media and Tokyopop didn't think that going after scanlation sites would be a worthwhile endeavor, and that publishers should focus on bringing manga to fans more quickly and at a good price. But things had changed. Not only were sales down, but there were some changes to how scanlations were being distributed. Instead of fan-hosted sites, many people were getting scanlations from scanlation aggregator sites. These sites would either host or provide links to thousands of manga, and some of them were operating as for-profit businesses, and they were getting more and more popular. For example, OneManga.com managed to crack into the top 1,000 most popular websites in the world in April of 2010, with more than 4 million unique visitors and over 1 billion page views. And some of the images used on these sites weren't even scanlations. They were just scans of officially licensed manga. Ed Chavez, Vertical's marketing director at the time, gave an example of this happening on an episode of the A&N cast.
When I started at Vertical, literally 1 year ago, Blackjack's numbers were pretty good, but as traditional manga series projections go, after the first volume, sales, every single volume after that, the sales go down. And I was able to actually turn the sales around to the point where the series actually was outperforming, new releases are outperforming previous releases by up to 30%. That continued for about 3 more volumes. And then, the very end of last year, a scan group scanned the first 7 volumes of our translation of Blackjack, put that up onto a major scan aggregator, and sales dropped by 20%.
After years of inaction, publishers would take an unprecedented step. On June 8, 2010, dozens of manga publishers announced they were forming the Multinational Manga Anti-Piracy Coalition in order to combat scanlations. What was striking about this coalition was not only the number of companies involved, which was 36 at the time, but who was on the list. In addition to major US publishers like Tokyopop, Viz Media, and Yen Press, major Japanese publishers, including Shueisha, Kodansha, and Shogakukan, had also joined the coalition. The catalyst for the group's formation appears to have been the increasing popularity of for-profit scanlation aggregators. In a statement to Publishers Weekly, Kurt Hassler, the publishing director of Yen Press, stated, quote, "Go back 2 years and track these sites, and you'll find an inverse relationship between the rise of traffic on these scanlation sites and the decline in US manga sales. These sites are run as businesses and include direct scans of licensed English language manga editions. Some even include our copyright notices. We don't want to have to do this, but publishers are now focused on this problem." End quote. Coalition also announced that they had a list of 30 websites that were going to be specifically targeted. The impact of this announcement was felt fairly quickly. Just a few days later, on June 11th, Manga Helpers announced that they would stop hosting and linking to raw manga, the unedited original scans, and scanlations, and remove them all from their database. Even though they hadn't received an official notice, they believed that they were on the coalition's list. On June 17th, Manga Fox announced that they had temporarily removed various manga due to copyright issues, and that they were apparently trying to negotiate with the coalition. In addition to the manga that they removed themselves, several scanlation groups that had their projects aggregated on the site asked for them to be taken down. By the 18th, more than 350 titles had been removed. On July 15th, Manga Toshikan announced they would be removing all content being released by members of the coalition. Right after their announcement, One Manga announced that they would be removing all manga from their website, and it was removed on August 1st. While these were certainly victories for the coalition, people doubted that it would have a significant long-term impact. Once a scanlation is uploaded to the internet, it's free for anyone to download and re-upload elsewhere. The coalition hoped that the threat of legal action, alongside improving official access to manga digitally, would be an effective deterrent, but it didn't appear to be working. Some sites, like Manga Traders, never shut down in the first place, and shutting down big aggregator sites just funneled traffic into smaller ones, like Manga Stream and Manga Reader. Even initial successes began to look worse over time. Manga Fox, who initially appeared to comply with the coalition's wishes, started hosting some of the recently removed scanlations again within a few weeks, despite the roaring start, and doesn't look like the coalition actually filed any lawsuits. While it wasn't formally dissolved, It looks like 2010 marked both the beginning and end of the multinational manga anti-piracy coalition. While this attempt at an international anti-piracy coalition wasn't as successful as they would have hoped, it wouldn't be the last, because even though they're not as popular as they once were, scanlations haven't gone anywhere.